Danielle, let you take it away. Welcome. And so glad to have
Well,
you, by the way.
I am happy to be here. Thank you so much, Dave. So, I know both of you, Regina and Barbara. Again, my name is Danielle Jacquemin. I am going to be pleased to guide you through this new series. This is the first one. Oh, Barbara, your laptop's giving me problems. Can you hear us?
Barbara, you can just put it in the chat. Oh, I see a thumbs up. That's a good thing. Okay, I think that came from Barbara. Oh, that came from Regina. Regina, Barbara, you want to give us a thumbs up or just put in the chat if you can hear us or not?
There we go. We got a thumbs up. All right, Barbara. Well, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Um, and just to ensure we stay on track tonight, you can hold your questions until the end, or you can drop them right in the chat. I'll be happy to address them once we're done with this session. So let's talk about, what an executive summary is. Like this is part, like I said, we're going through like the business plan and, what the different pieces and parts are. So the executive summary is the first section of a business plan. And honestly, it's the most important. Its job is to quickly capture the core idea in a way that makes the reader want to keep going. Think of this as your gateway. If this part is strong, people are much more likely to stay engaged with the rest of your plan. So, what should a strong executive summary include? At its core, it answers a few key questions. What problem exists? How does your business solve it? What is the actual business idea behind the solution? Who are you serving? What makes your idea different from everyone else out there? And finally, what does the financial picture look like? These are things like costs, revenue potential, or funding needs. The goal here isn't to say everything. It's to be clear. You're boiling your idea down to the essentials so someone can understand it quickly. In these workshops, this is where our students really get, you're going to get hands-on. We're going to start by having you narrow down your ideas into a single sentence. That forces clarity and helps you really define the purpose of the business before you build out a full plan. You also will review real examples so that you can see what strong executive summaries actually look like. The focus is all about simplifying, refining, and learning how to communicate the ideas with confidence. And here's why this matters so much. When our students can clearly explain their idea in writing, it naturally boosts their confidence when they talk about it out loud. A strong executive summary also signals professionalism and readiness, especially in competitions or when presenting to judges or investors. And most importantly, it makes sure the vision and value of the business are immediately understood. So let's start by looking at what this slide is really showing us. It highlights the difference between a vague business idea and a strong, compelling executive summary. The goal here isn't just to tell you what to write. It's to help you understand how to elevate your idea so it feels clear, confident, and credible. So first, let's talk about the weaker example. In this version, the business description is very, very general. It basically just says what the business sells. My business is a bakery that sells cupcakes. We want to grow and get more customers. We think people will like our cupcakes because they're good. There is no real differentiation here. Nothing that makes this bakery stand out. We don't know who the customer is, what makes the cupcakes special, or how the business plans to operate or grow. Statements like we want to grow or people will like it are assumptions, not a strategy. As a reader, there's no strong reason to believe in business or feel motivated to keep reading. Now, let's look at the stronger example and why it works so much better. Right away, this version adds detail, clarity, and purpose. It tells us that Bright Bakes Cupcakery offers handcrafted, allergy-free gourmet cupcakes for busy families who need safe and convenient dessert options. Notice how much more information we get in one single sentence. We clearly understand the niche, handcrafted, allergy-friendly cupcakes. We know who the business is for, busy families. It also introduces a unique approach with a subscription delivery model for which immediately makes the business feel more modern and intentional. The summary also connects the idea to a larger market trend. Um, by referencing the growing demand for allergy-aware products. And finally, it includes a realistic first-year revenue goal, which signals that the owner has actually thought through the business and its potential. So what really makes the strong example stand out here? Specific details make the business feel real, not hypothetical. Clear language helps the investor, judge, or reader quickly understand the value. Positioning the business within a broader trend shows awareness of the market, including a revenue goal demonstrates the planning and forward thinking here. The big takeaway for you as a student is this: a strong executive summary doesn't need to be long. It just needs to be intentional. Focus on what makes your idea unique, who it serves, and where it's going. The more concrete and confident your summary is, the more compelling your business will feel to anyone reading it. Now, there's a little blip of fine print here. Figures are illustrative and depend on market conditions, costs, and compliance. Licensing, health and safety, consumer protection, etc. Actual results will vary. So why does this work? It identifies the problem and solution. Strong executive summaries work because they clearly state what problem exists and how this business solves it. This immediately tells the reader why the idea matters and what need it addresses. Shows the target audience. A good summary doesn't try to appeal to everyone. It names exactly who the product or service is for. That level of clarity helps judges and investors understand the market opportunity right away. And then it shows value differentiation. This also explains what makes the idea unique, what sets the business apart from its competitors. That differentiation is what convinces readers that the concept has real potential, and it gives a financial snapshot. Even a simple financial projection adds credibility. It shows you as a student have thought through revenue, scale, and viability, not just the creative side of the idea. And it sounds professional and concise. The language is clear, confident, and to the point. A strong executive summary does not ramble. It delivers essentials quickly, which is exactly what decision makers want. Next, we move into the company description development. This section is all about clearly explaining who your business is and how it works. Let's start with the mission and vision statements. Your mission statement explains the why the business exists. It captures the core purpose of it and the value that you're delivering right now. The vision statement, this looks ahead. It describes where the company is going and what long-term successes look like. When these two work together, they provide clarity and direction. They help align decisions, guide the team, and make it easier for others like investors or judges to understand what the business actually stands for. Now let's talk about the business model and legal structure. The business model explains how the company actually operates. It creates value, delivers it, and ultimately makes money. Choosing a legal structure, whether it is a sole proprietorship, LLC, or a corporation, also matter more than our students often realize. That decision affects things like your taxes, liability, and flexibility as the business grows. This part of the plan shows that the idea isn't just creative, it's realistic and thoughtfully built. From there, we look at operational location and goals. This is where our students are going to define where the business will run, whether that's from home, online, mobile, or a physical location. Operational goals, they help connect everyday actions into long-term growth. They encourage students to think strategically about what success looks like in the first year and beyond. This is really where planning shifts from an idea into execution. Finally, we reinforce everything through practical learning activities. In class, our students work on drafting mission statements, refining their company descriptions. These hands-on exercises help you with clarity for their purpose, values, and direction. These are going to be skills that you will use throughout the rest of your business plan. Writing it out builds confidence and makes it easier for you to explain your businesses clearly and professionally. Again, little blip on the bottom there, that fine print. Identify required licenses, permits, and relevant regulations like food safety, data privacy, or employment law. You will assign ownership and a timeline to those. Now let's look at company description. This is specifically a weak one, and we're going to talk about why it doesn't work. The purpose of this slide is to show what an ineffective company description sounds like, so our students can recognize common mistakes and avoid them in their own plans. So here's the weak example. It says, we sell clothes. We want to make people feel good about themselves. Our goal is to open stores everywhere. At first glance, this might sound positive, but when you look closer, it feels more like a vague idea than a real business description. So what is missing here and why is it weak? First, there is no specific audience. Who are these clothes actually for? Teens, professionals, athletes? We don't know. Second, there's no clear mission beyond a very broad statement about making people feel good. While that sounds nice, it doesn't explain the company's purpose in a meaningful and memorable way. And saying we want to open stores everywhere. This isn't a strategy. It's an unrealistic and unfocused goal. There's no explanation of how that would happen, why it makes sense, or what the business model looks like. There's no mention of how the business operates, how it's structured, what makes the products different, or where the business is based. And that leads us to the key teaching point here. This example is helpful because it shows how easy it is to rely on general statements that don't actually communicate anything useful. A strong company description should be clear and intentional. It should help the reader quickly understand what the business is, who it serves, and what makes it unique. When those elements are missing, the idea feels weak, even if the concept itself has potential. So here's a strong company description. This slide builds directly on that weak example we just reviewed and shows what good actually looks like in practice. It includes all the key elements that you want in a solid company description: mission, vision, business model, structure, location, and goals. So let's start with that mission. Mission focuses on what the company is doing right now. In this example, the mission clearly emphasizes empowerment, affordability, sustainability, and self-expression. These are specific, intentional values that tell us exactly what the brand stands for. It also makes it clear who the company is serving, whether that's women, BIPOC communities, or another defined group, and what benefit those customers can expect. That level of clarity immediately makes the business feel more real and purposeful. Next is the vision statement. Forgot how to speak. The vision statement looks forward and explains where the company is headed. Here, the vision is very concrete: becoming the leading eco-conscious clothing brand for young adult women in the Northeast. This goal is very ambitious, but it's also focused and realistic. It provides direction without making vague claims or overreaching promises. Now let's talk about the business model and structure. This section explains how the business actually operates by choosing an LLC structure and combining e-commerce with pop-up retail. The company shows strategic thinking. It balances broader reach with lower overhead, which is exactly the kind of reasoning a business plan should show. This tells the reader that our student is thinking beyond the creative idea and understands how the business functions in the real world. Then we look at the location goals. Grounding the business in a specific location like Waterbury, Connecticut, helps define its starting market and makes the plan feel tangible. The growth goal is also clear and measurable, expanding to 3 additional seasonal pop-ups within 18 months. That's a realistic target, and it shows thoughtful planning and momentum rather than wishful thinking. So when you tie all of this together, here's why this description works. It's clear, focused, intentional. It communicates purpose, future direction, operational structure, and growth goals, all in a concise, organized way. This is exactly the level of detail judges, investors, and evaluators are looking for because it shows that you truly understand your business beyond just the idea stage. Now, I know this is a lot of information, so I thank you for hanging in there. I will happily answer questions after. But market analysis, here's another big one. We're going to shift into this and talk about why this section matters. Market analysis helps us understand the environment your businesses will actually operate in, not just the idea you have in your head. We start with understanding the market environment. This means looking at the bigger picture. We can explore the industry itself, how large it is, what trends are happening, and whether the market is growing or shrinking. We also take a closer look at customers by examining things like age, income, behaviors, and preferences. All of this groundwork helps answer a really important question. Is there a real need for this business? And is there a real audience willing to buy? Everything else in the business plan depends on this. Next, we'll move on to a competitor analysis. Here we're going to learn not all competition looks the same. Direct competitors are businesses offering the same product or service, while indirect competitors offer an alternative solution to the same problem. Understanding both helps us see where they fit in the market and how crowded that space might just be. More importantly, it pushes us to think about what sets our business apart and how we can position ourselves strategically. Then we want to introduce the SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is simple but powerful. It's a simple but powerful way to think critically about a business. Strengths and weaknesses, these come from inside the businesses, the things that we can control. Opportunities and threats come from outside factors like trends, competitors, or changing customer needs. This tool helps us move beyond optimism and think realistically about what could help or hurt our successes. Finally, we focus on strategic positioning. Market analysis helps us clearly define where our business fits. This includes who the target customers are, who the main competitors are, and what truly makes this product or service different. Strong positioning allows us to confidently answer the question, why should someone choose this business instead of another one? So we're going to wrap up this slide by saying, together, all of these pieces give us the tools to understand the market and build a business plan that's grounded in real data, not just ideas. A strong market analysis leads to smarter decisions and helps you communicate confidence and credibility in your business concept. Here I'm showing you what a strong market analysis section can look like. The goal with this example is to demonstrate both structure of the section and the level of detail I expect to see in their own assignments. We start with the market environment. In this example, the focus is on the smoothie bar industry. Right away, it includes a clear and specific data point, 7.5% industry growth in 2025. That single statistic does a lot of work. It tells us the market is expanding and that the customer behavior is shifting towards healthier and more convenient meal options. This is exactly the kind of insight we should be looking for, a trend, a statistic, or a change in customer demand that supports why your business idea makes sense. Next, we move into that competitor analysis. Here we model how to clearly break down the competition. Direct competitors are other smoothie bars, including national chains like Smoothie King. Indirect competitors are businesses that don't sell exactly the same product, but could still pull customers away, such as a fast casual restaurant that offers blended drinks. Then we identify a gap in the local market. In this case, competitors don't offer customizable high protein smoothie options. The detail, that's important because it shows how you spot an unmet need and clearly position your business as the solution. This slide helps us see that market analysis isn't just about describing an industry, it's about proving that you understand the landscape that you and can identify where this business fits within it. This is the level of specificity, reasoning, and connection to real market data that you should aim to model in your own work. Now, this slide goes over the SWOT analysis I previously mentioned. So we're going to use Fit Fuel Smoothie Bar as an example to show how you can take insights from your SWOT and translate them into clear marketing positioning. First, strengths. For Fit Fuel, the strength is high protein customizable blends. This highlights what the business does especially well. Customization and protein-focused options directly appeal to fitness-minded customers, and that becomes a major differentiator. Strengths help define what makes the business stand out in a positive and competitive way. Next, we got weaknesses. These are internal challenges the business needs to be honest about. In this case, the cost of fresh, high-quality ingredients drives prices up. Recognizing this helps us think realistically about pricing, profit margin, and daily operations instead of ignoring potential challenges. Then we look at opportunities. These come from outside the business. Here, there's a clear trend towards more fitness-focused and health-conscious consumers. That growing demand creates a strong opportunity to attract and retain customers. This shows us how identifying trends can directly support our business direction. Then there's threats. These are risks outside of the business's control. These are rising supplier costs that could affect profitability and pricing. Identifying threats early helps us think ahead, plan smartly, and build resilience it helps you build resilience into your strategy. Now let's connect all of this to strategic positioning. Fit Fuel Smoothie Bar positions itself as a premium fitness-centered option for health-conscious adults from 18 to 40. This is where everything from the SWOT comes together. By choosing premium fitness-focused position, the business leans into its strengths, customizable and high-protein blends, while staying aligned with the market opportunities. Target audience is clearly defined, which helps guide branding, pricing, and marketing decisions. A strong SWOT analysis doesn't just list items, it directly informs how a business should position itself in the market. This example shows us how to turn strengths and opportunities into a focused strategic identity that can clearly explain who the business is and why it stands out. Now we're going to bring all of it together. So let's start with that executive summary. This section is essentially the elevator pitch for the entire plan. It gives us a snapshot of the core idea in a clear, high-impact way. It briefly explains the problem the business is solving, the solution that's being offered, the value it brings, and a quick look at the financial picture. Even though the executive summary appears first, this is often written last because it pulls together the most important points from the full plan. When it's done, it builds confidence right away, and it sets the tone for everything else that follows. Next is the company description. This section defines who the business is at its core and lays out the mission, vision, values, and goals that guide decision-making. It also explains the business model legal structure, and long-term direction. The main goal here is clarity, clearly showing what the business does, who it serves, and why it exists. This becomes the foundation for every other section of the business plan. The third component is the market analysis. This is where the plan shows an understanding of the bigger picture. It explains the industry, the current trends, and the needs of the target customers. It also identifies key competitors and shows how the business fits within the competitive landscape. Market analysis often includes its own SWOT assessment, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which helps guide strategy and supports smart, informed decision making as the business grows. So together, these three sections set the stage for the rest of the business plan. They establish clarity, strategy, and credibility, all of which are essential for gaining support, earning trust, and moving the business forward. So I want to thank you for joining us. And now that you've started shaping your mission, we're just getting warmed up. In part 2 of this webinar series, we'll take the next step and dive into how to craft a compelling company description, one that clearly communicates who you are, what you do, and why it matters. This is where your business really starts to take shape and make a strong first impression. So part 2 will be coming out soon, and I don't want you to miss it.